Namaskar, everybody. Let's begin our reading of the biography of Saint Tukaram, and I'll show you the screen. Yes. So this is the screen sharing, and what we had done last time, we had read up to page 27, beginning the first paragraph. Basically, it was after drowning of the ABHANG GATHA, Saint Tukaram was in turmoil, and people in the village were trying to make sarcastic comments. And then Tukaram Maharaj got very much disturbed. So that is the description. Let me read this para and we'll continue. So it says that the taunting of the people went to his heart. He gave up food and water and lay upon a stone in the courtyard of Vithoba's temple, resolving not to get up till Vithoba should hear his prayer. So in verses 2222 to 2220 contain his breathings out on the occasion. In them, he supplicates Vithoba in a variety of ways to come to his protection and by some special mark of favor to save him from the disgrace to which he was reduced. He lay in this manner for 13 days without receiving any consolation. That was a very, very bad situation. And then his end seemed evidently to be nigh. At any rate, with his poems all drowned in the river, and he forbidden to compose any new ones, he seemed destined to have a life of nonentity, to pine away in a lonely forest, leaving the world to his persecutors, who evidently thought they had gained everything they wanted. But no, by that inherent force of truth, to triumph and to outlive, and by that unforeseen and unexpected succor which the truly faithful and sincere receive from quarters unknown, call it miracle or anything else. Tukaram and his poems outlived his persecutors and inculcated in the Maratha nation the great doctrine of salvation by faith. Salvation by faith. Bhakti Vishwas. Bhaktitan Mukti. On the 13th day, according to Mahipati's account of the event, the drowned drowned books began to float on the surface of the water and were taken out by the people and carried to Tukaram. The more rational and trustworthy account is to be gathered from the heading 2 verses 2241 to 46 in the following collection. So Mahipati's account says 13th day, but Tukaram Maharaj himself has written in his poems. So let's see this, what he says. It says that when Tukaram thus lay in the courtyard for 13 days, God seemed to appear to him in the form of a child, embraced him and consoled him by informing him that the books of poems were dry in the water and that they should be taken out. This was accordingly done, and observing that the books came out safe from the water, Tukaram breathed out 7 verses in earnest, thanksgiving, upbraiding himself at the same time that he should have put his God to so much trouble for him. Tukaram Maharaj felt very bad that he put God to so much trouble. He tortured God. He felt very sorry and he said sorry to God. What beautiful poems, what a beautiful situation. Nowhere in the world, nowhere in the history of the whole world. This is the earth, 5 billion year old earth. Nowhere has such thing has happened. God came and told his devotee, your poems, which have been drowned in water and which are there under water for 13 days, are dry. They are not touched by water. They are dry and you may take them out. After putting Tukaram Maharaj on almost the brink of extinction, disgrace, brink of vanishing nowhere, a permanent disgrace. That was the brink on which he was pushed. But that is God's taste. God tested him and he passed the test. And then now look at his poetry. Let us read the poems. 2241. I committed a great offense. Tukaram Maharaj is telling God, I'm sorry, God, I committed a great offense in having made a trial of thee to the uttermost. For people's talk, I disturbed thee. I tired and troubled thee. Ungrateful wretch that I am, by remaining 13 days with eyes closed. I put thee into difficulty by laying upon thee the burden of my death without food and water, that thou mightest give me redress. Thou preservest the papers in the water, stopped thereby the evil talk of the people, and made thy own motto true. The next Abhanga, 2242. Thou kind mother, thou art the shade of us helpless beings. Thou camest uncovered to me in the form of a child. Thou didst satisfy me by thy beautiful incarnate form and quieted my mind by embracing me. Thou didst extend thy mercy to me through the people and gavest me place near thy feet through the saints. Thou didst not at all let me feel what sorrow was. Tuka says, I am an offender. Forgive me, O mother. I will not put thee in any strait hereafter. 2243. Let anybody cut my throat. Let people persecute me to their heart's content. I will not do anything which will put thee to trouble. For once I committed a mistake, Chandala that I am. I made thee stand in the water, and I did not consider what little merit I had. I was shamefully ignorant of the way in which to ask an obligation of the great. There is no use of vain talk about the past. Care should be taken in future, says Tuka. 2244. What do I mean, man? Know of thy infinite power, O Panduranga. What do I know of thy infinite power, O Panduranga? I am a mean man. If men have patience, What wilt not thou do for them? You will do anything for them. I became impatient from the beginning, dunce that I am. Still, thou sea of mercy, thou didst not reject me in scorn. Thou art the God of gods, the life of the universe. What occasion was there, therefore, for us, thy servants, to cry for mercy? Tuka says, O Providence, I am really a fallen man, for I sat in Dharne. He sat in Dharne. He insisted that he must get justice from God. He's saying sorry for that. He says, I'm a fallen man. Now let's proceed to 2245. No knife was falling on my head, nor was I going to receive a wound in my back that I should have given out, oh hurry, such loud wailings. Thou becamest divided at two places with me and in the water, and didst not allow any harm to come at either place. I must take a pause here. Tukaram Maharaj has clearly seen that God divided himself into two parts. One part was protecting inside the water the Abhanga Gatha. Nothing can remain dry for 13 days underwater unless and only until God Himself protects it with his own presence inside the water. And I'm not saying this, Tukaram Maharaj himself has seen this and he has written it in his poetry. Thou becamest divided at two places with me and in the water, and thou didst not allow any harm to come at either place. Father and mother take even life in anger for a small fault. Whereas what thou borest was not common, only thou couldst know of it. What he's saying is, what you bore, the trouble that you bore, is not common. It is not an ordinary trouble. It was an extraordinary trouble that God bore for Tukaram Maharaj. And only thou couldst know of it. Only God knew how much trouble he has taken for Tukaram Maharaj. Nobody else can know. Tuka says, Thou merciful God, there is no giver like thee. How shall I praise thee? I have no words to do it. 2246. Thou art kinder than a mother, more refreshing than the moon, thinner than water, all a wave of joy. To what shall I compare thee besides thyself, O God? I wave myself around thee as an offering to thy name. Thou didst create the nectar, but thou art sweeter than that. What a beautiful poem. Thou art the creator of the five elements and the master of all existence. Without anything, without saying anything now, I lay my head upon thy feet. Forgive me my fault, O Lord of Pandari, says Tuka. This is a very, very beautiful poem, and I think I must take a bit of a pause here and read out at least the Marathi words of this poem. There is a beautiful song, and if you will listen to that song, you will really enjoy that. Tu mauli huni mayad, चंद्राहुनी शीतळ, पाणियाहुनी पातळ, कल्लोळ प्रेमाचा. देऊ कशाची उपमा तुझी तुझ पुरुषोत्तमा. टू व्हॉट शॅल आय कम्पेअर दी बिसाइड दाय सेल्फ ओ लॉर्ड. ओवाळितो नामा तुझवरुनी टाकूनी. सो दॅट इज आय वेव माय सेल्फ अराउंड दी as an offering to the name. Then Tua Kele Re Amruta Goda, thou didst create the nectar. Tu Tya Parita Goda, you are sweeter than that. पाचा पाचा तत्वाचा जनिता सकळ सत्ता नायक. You are the creator of the five elements and the master of all existence. And in the end, Tukaram Maharaj says, Kahi na bolo ni आता उगाच चरणी ठेवितो माथा तुका म्हणे पंढरीनाथा. Very beautiful song. If you will listen to it, you will fall in love with it. Let's proceed to 2247. I am of ill desert and an offender beyond description. Give me now place, O Vitala, near thy feet. Inexorable destiny does not allow a man to remain undisturbed in one place. The endless waves of desire assume new colors every moment, but if worldly life were to be taken too, it proves destructive. Tuka says, cut off my anxiety now, O God of Pandari, come and reside in my heart. So we'll continue to read the biography. While these events took place at Dehu, a miraculous scene is related of Rameshwar Bhatta, the persecutor of Tukaram Maharaj. It is said that he happened to bathe in a well at Pune, which belonged to a fakir named Angad Shah. Angad Shah was a fakir and he was an admirer of Tukaram Maharaj. The bath, instead of cooling his body, began to burn it, and for days and days together he was wailing under torments as if his body were all on fire. Some people began to ascribe it to some poisonous drug which was suspected to have been given by Angad, while others attributed it to divine wrath. Rameshwar Bhatt had brought upon him by drowning Tukaram's poems. Rameshwar Bhatt is said to have repaired to Alandi, where Jnaneshwar Maharaj's Samadhi is there. He is there in Alandi. So Rameshwar Bhatt went to Alandi to pray to Jnaneshwara for relief. He had a dream, it is said, wherein he was told to throw himself on Tukaram's mercy. He heard at the same time of Tukaram's books of poems having come out of the water. He repented for having persecuted him and wrote an abhanga to him asking him his forgiveness. The following abhanga was sent by Tukaram in reply, which is said to have removed Rameshwar Bhatta's element. Look at this. One Abhanga Tukaram Maharaj has written and sent to Rameshwar Bhatt. The moment Rameshwar Bhatt got that Abhang, his burning sensation vanished. What is the Abhang? If the heart be pure, enemies become friends, and even the tiger does not eat him, and the serpent does not sting him. Poison becomes nectar, distress a fortune, and a prohibited act a moral one. All sorrow will bring out happiness, and the burning flames will be cooled. Living beings will love one another as themselves, since the emotions in all are the same. God has bestowed his mercy on thee, says Tuka, know it by this present experience. So this is a very, very important abhanga if you will realize It is this Abhanga in which Tukaram Maharaj has pardoned Rameshwar Bhatt, or let us say Lord Vithoba has pardoned Rameshwar Bhatt because he also repented. When someone repents, he becomes eligible to receive divine pardon. Rameshwar Bhatt became eligible, and God is so merciful. Tukaram Maharaj is so merciful that Rameshwar Bhatt got pardoned and he became a disciple of Tukaram Maharaj. He has written poems. When Tukaram Maharaj went with his body to Vaikuntha, that poem has been written by Rameshwar Bhatt. He was present at the time when Tukaram Maharaj went bodily to Vaikuntha. So let us continue. Whatever credence is to be attached to the above related occurrence, this much is certain that Rameshwar Bhatt, the greatest persecutor of Tukaram, became his most devoted follower, so much so that during the rest of his life, he always lived by Tukaram and became a transcriber of those very poems of his which he had forbidden him to compose. Moreover, the above Abhanga quoted contains allusion to the burning flames which Rameshwara Bhatta is assured will be cooled by the heart becoming pure. The following four Abhangas, 1079 to 82, placed in the collection in a footnote as their authorship is ascribed to Rameshwar Bhatt, show how complete a change came over that bigoted Brahmana. So here are the four Abhangas. God's devoted worshippers, saints enjoying salvation in this very life, persons whose extraordinary fame is spread throughout the world. Among such endless men, the Savior of the world by his unconscious deeds, such a being, Tuka, that stood the test of his communion with Brahma, the friend of the universe, has at present made this earth the scene of his diversions. Thou, King of the faithful, thy conduct I have seen to be in accordance with the Shastra and the rules approved by the great, by offering the last oblations of water to the objects of desire and those which are proscribed, and by offering up to God yoga itself without any desire. So this is a poem, the first part of the Abhangas of the Rameshwar Bhatt, and then in the circle of in the circle of saintly stars, thou hast eaten up, dispelled the darkness of the world. Thou, Tuka, art the sun that hast appeared on the distant mountain of sunrise. Tuka is the Simhastha in human form and Harikatha in the holy river Gautami, to visit which holy waters in the form of saints resort. Peace of mind, that continent woman has now been married and being satisfied of all desires is now desireless. Forgiveness is widely known in the world by acts of forgiveness, but it has received corporate form in thee. Thou, Lord of the helpless, thou hast kept mercy alive. Thy fame has spread throughout the whole world. Thou hast raised the arm and unfurled the standard of the Vedas and hast respected gods, Brahmanas, and all the elements. Religion suffered from the consumptive disease, irreligiousness, but thou hast cured it by faith and faith alone, along with the tenet of the unity of Brahma and the universe. Thou hast extended faith and thereby fulfilled the object of the texts of the Vedas. Do not disregard me. Who am I deluded? Who am deluded by pride of caste and belief in the external body as the ego? Rameshwara Chandra prays that his mind may never go astray in his belief in Tuka's feet. 1080, even Pandits, those who read Shastras, Vedics, those who read the Vedas, and Dashagranthis, those who have mastered the 10 books of the Rig Veda, cannot equal Tuka. They read the Shastras, Puranas, or the Gita regularly every day, but they do not understand the essence. In this Kali Yuga, the Brahmanas have brought on their own ruin by the pride of karma, religious rites, and pride of caste. Tukaram is not the ordinary Vani, a grocer given to his trade. He has his belief in Vithoba's feet. His correct voice has showered nectar. Who can make it incorrect? He has explained the four Vedas, bringing out their profoundest meaning and distinguishing and classifying the good, the better, and the best. I have not seen a man superior to Tuka in faith, philosophy, and renunciation of worldly desires. He has put to shame japa, tapa, yajna, and charities by singing the name of God. Many great poets preceded him, but tell me who ascended to heaven with his body? Rameshwara says he took leave of all and went up in a heavenly car. This is the Abhanga in which he has written clearly that Tukaram Maharaj has gone to heaven with his body in the heavenly car, Garuda Vahana of Vishnu. 1081. I have been convinced by sad experience with ignominy I suffered for it because I hated him internally. I suffered from intense torments of the body. Jnaneshwara obliged me by informing me of the whole in a dream. Tuka is superior to all and worthy of our great love, for he is the incarnation of Namdeva. Thou spokest something ill of him, and hence those torments thou art laboring under. This is what Jnaneshwar Maharaj told Rameshwara Bhatt. Now hear me and do the one thing I tell thee with a firm resolve. Throw thyself on his mercy. I have given thee the counsel which will destroy thy sin by the very sight of Tukha. Putting faith in that counsel, I always go to Tuka's Kirtan. Rameshwara says, in his company, this body of mine became free from torments. Isn't this lovely? Isn't this lovely? 1082. He who assigns caste to a Vaishnava will go to hell. The Vedas and Puranas have spoken so that disqualification of caste by caste cannot attach to the faithful. He who is liked by God should not be called of high or low caste. This privilege extends to all the four castes, and there is no sin in saluting him by the particular form, the Namaskara, as the Shaligram is worthy of worship by all and should not be called a stone. So, this great teacher himself, the Parabrahma, the God of gods, should not be called a human creature. Rameshwar Bhatta is saying it with a complete resolve. You should not call Tukaram Maharaj a human creature. Friends, today in the 21st century, let us remember these words. Tukaram Maharaj should not be called a human creature. He is Parabrahma, the God of gods. Rameshwara says, those who make the name of God the constant delight of their hearts themselves become God. नाम घेता घेता तो पांडुरंगच होतो. भगवंत आणि भक्त याच्यात फरक राहत नाही. I would like to read the footnotes because they are important. So we are going to spend today's balance time only in reading the footnotes, and we will stop after that. The first footnote is about Chandala. Chandala meant a person born from a Shudra father and Brahman mother. Hence, it is figuratively need to signify a wicked or a loathsome creature. That is how that word has been originated. That is a way. In Mahipati, there is a footnote on Mahipati. Mahipati states that Rameshwar Bhatt was at the time at Wagholi. In the heading to verses 2220 to 2240 in the following collection. However, it is mentioned that Tukaram was told not to compose new poems and drown those already composed in the course of a katha at Alkapuri or Aldi. That is the footnote. Next footnote is about Jnanova or Jnanadeva. I'm going to make this a little bigger and a little bigger. Here it is. Jnanoba or Jnanadeva was a Brahmin whose headquarters were at Alandi, north of Pune, where a shrine much frequented is now consecrated to his memory. He is highly venerated, especially by the priest fraternity in the Maharashtra, and is the author of a paraphrase, the OV meter of the Bhagavad Gita, designated from himself the Jnaneshwari or Opus Jnaneshwari. It is full of poetical forms of words differing from those of the language of conversation, and some of its vocables are now obsolete, but it is intelligent to the student, intelligible to the student. It bears the date of Shake 1212, that is AD 1290, and is possibly of this age. Jnanoba seems to have belonged to a family noted for its learning. Nivrutti, his elder brother, Sopan Deva, his younger brother, and Muktabai, his sister, are with himself mentioned with respect. Indeed, the whole family has attained to the apotheosis He as an incarnation of Vishnu, Nivritti as an incarnation of Brahma, Sopan Deva as an incarnation of Shiva, and Muktabai as an incarnation of Brahma. Shakti, what I am told is Shakti. This is the more remarkable that he gives some of his pantheistic verses of the Gita an almost anti-idolatrous turn. This is what Dr. Wilson has written in notes prefixed to Woolworth's dictionary. Woolworth dictionary, we'll talk about it at some other time. And there's a second footnote which is about offering up to God yoga itself without any desire. It is a custom to pour out water with sesame seeds to the manes of a defunct until the 10th day after his decease. Hence, the expression Tilanjali Dene means to relinquish desire or hope of a thing. Then the other footnote is the indispensable condition of uniting with the godly essence, according to Vedantic philosophy, was to conquer all desire and to do nothing with the object of getting any reward of sort of union with Brahma himself. So we have read the last footnote, the period. This is a footnote. The period of time during which the position of the planet Jupiter is in the sign Leo. It occurs duodecennially, and it is believed that at that juncture the river Ganga goes to visit the elder Ganga Godavari at Trambaka near Nashik and the river Krishna. Those pilgrims, therefore, who bathe in the holy waters of the Ganga flock at this time to Trembaka, Vai, and other places situated on the Godavari, the Gautami, or the Krishna. See, these are the religious festivals. I think that is the Kumbh. Okay. And so I think today's reading we can stop here. I will just go up to, well, let's continue for 5 minutes, maybe. Yes, okay. With the recovery of the books of poems thrown into the river and the conversion of Rameshwar Bhatt's hatred into intense devotedness and admiration for Tukaram, our author's persecution was over, and his sincerity of faith and true saintliness became acknowledged throughout the country. The great Shivaji Maharaj, the founder of the Maratha Empire, and a contemporary of the poet, whom he counted among his subjects, sent a letter of invitation with due pomp, requesting the favor of a visit from him. It may be mentioned here that Shivaji was naturally of a devotional turn of mind and was even at that time, as it appears from verse 1889, a declared disciple of Ramdasa, Swami Ramdas, to whom the reader knows he had offered all his kingdom and would receive it back only as his representative, which was indicated by the national flag being a red ochre colored cloth worn by sannyasis. So I would like to take a pause here to inform all the people that Shivaji Maharaj looked at the kingdom with very, very different eyes. He looked at the kingdom as something which is given back to him by his guru for taking care. He was only a caretaker of the Swarajya. Very, very crucial sentence, very, very crucial history. So that is how Shivaji Maharaj took care of the Swarajya so intensely, because he had given it as a Guru Dakshina to his Guru. And Guru said that you have to take care of it, take it back and take care of the Swarajya. And that is how Shivaji Maharaj took care of the Swarajya. If we are able to breathe the air of freedom and enjoy our life today in 2025, and soon we are going to move into 2022, the year is coming to an end. It's all due to the great Shivaji Maharaj. So now let us continue. It may be mentioned here that Shivaji was naturally of a devotional turn of mind, and he was even at that time, as appears from the verse 1889, a declared disciple of Swami Ramdas, to whom the reader knows he had offered all his kingdom and would receive it back only as his representative, which was indicated by the national flag being a red ochre colored cloth worn by sannyasis. So, if you are having the red ochre flag, it is an indication of sannyasi. So, how was today's reading? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, very good, very nice, very good.
You see, there is so much that we
Very
are
nice.
learning from this. Lot of things which I
Yes.
didn't realize. I had read those Abhang, I had read Rameshwar Bhatta's Abhang, but even after reading those Abhang, the essence of those Abhang did not get into my head unless and until today I read this book from Vishnu Shastri Pandit. He has written
Mm-hmm.
in English way back. I think that book is of which year? 1887.
Dada,
All the
it
things.
is really very difficult to, it is very difficult to assimilate in what bhavana, what thought he has been giving to us. That is very difficult.
Yes,
What he has experienced and he is telling, so those experience we cannot, in toto, we cannot get that experience.
we cannot get those. Yes. But what I really
Yes.
liked about the speech which Abhay Maharaj Tirak had said in his speech in Bharat Itihas Samshodak Mandal on the 14th of December, when we had the book publication, he said that when you do something like reading a book, it may be anybody's book or even a poetry from a
Yeah.
poet. What you are actually doing is you are peeping into the consciousness of that author. And that is
Yes.
what
Yes.
we are doing when we are peeping into the consciousness of Tukaram Maharaj when we read Abhanga Gatha. And this is a
Yes.
great privilege. Why all our ancestors keep telling us that you should read the scriptures, you should read Jnaneshwari, you should read Gatha, you should read the Eknathi Bhagavat, or you should read Dasbodh. Why? Or Hanuman Stotra. Why? Because you are peeping into the consciousness of that great soul. You are having the privilege, you got a license, you got the permission from Tukaram Maharaj to peep into his consciousness, to unite your consciousness with the consciousness of Tukaram Maharaj, and that itself is enough to uplift you spiritually many, many levels higher. And this is the beauty
Yes,
of
Dada.
reading Gatha or Dhaneshwari or Dasbodh or any good scripture. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you are peeping into the consciousness of Bhagwan Sri Krishna. You are uniting your consciousness straight directly with the consciousness of Sri Krishna. And this is the beauty of reading scriptures. I think today's session we can stop with this particular message, which we should carry home, that we must read the scriptures for the benefit it gives us, that we are able to peep into the consciousness of the great saint.
And we get the enlightenment through that.
Enlightenment, and that moves us closer
Yes,
to enlightenment. It is definitely
yes,
going to bring us closer to enlightenment. Thank you, Sadashiv. Enjoy your trip in Mysore. And
yes,
it's
yes.
nice, very nice. Thank you so much.
Good
Let's
night.
we'll stop here. Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.